Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's session of Corporate Connect with 17 Live. My name is Gerald, and I'm very pleased to be your speaker and moderator from SIAS today. So we also have the audience from Mumu Live who have joined us in tonight's Corporate Connect. This webinar is organized by SIAS and supported by the SGX Group. I'm sure some of you might have heard of the name 17 Live. It is a leading pure play live streaming platform in Japan and Taiwan. It has very strong connections in Singapore as well. And I think what we want to be hearing from the company today is really developments around this business and how the company is looking to drive growth in the years ahead. But before we welcome the management team from 17 Live today, what I wanted to do is to just give a very quick market update. We have seen quite a lot of developments in the global financial markets, whether it's in the US, in Singapore as well. We have seen the benchmark Straits Times Index actually reaching a all-time high, as well as renewed interest in many of the smaller companies within the Singapore market. So I hope to be able to share some of these latest market developments with all the participants tonight. Okay, let me bring up my slides. Okay, so my name is Gerald. I'm the founder of Beansprout, and you'll be able to find more insights on the Singapore market on our website, growbeansprout.com, as well as our various social media channels. The market outlook that I'm going to share is for informational purposes only and should not be taken to be financial advice. Okay, so in terms of how we have seen some of the global markets performing, the S&P 500 just reached a record high in the past few days. And likewise, we have seen the tech-heavy Nasdaq index also reaching a all-time high. In Singapore, we are still a bit away from the record high that was reached last month at about 4,300 points. But what we have seen is that the market has also rebounded strongly after the sell-off that we saw in April this year. So if I were to take a longer term time series of the benchmark Straits Times Index, this chart goes all the way back to 1993. And I think what is very interesting to me from this chart is that over the past few years, the Singapore market has actually rebounded very strongly. Effectively, we are now above the level that we were at back in 2007. And the momentum has actually continued in the past few months. And hence, I frequently get a question around what is driving the strength in the Singapore market. So I wanted to just bring about this point around country-specific measures. And in Singapore recently, we saw measures being announced by the MAS to stimulate the Singapore stock market. This would be along three key pillars, including looking at the supply side, at the demand side, as well as the connectivity or trading pillars. And I think what is most interesting to me would be that on the demand side, there is a 5 billion equity market development program to strengthen the local fund management ecosystem. And if you have been looking at the financial news over the past few weeks, you probably have seen the headline that 1.1 billion has been allocated to three fund managers for them to actually invest in the Singapore market. So to me, that is actually a positive news because we would likely see more liquidity in the Singapore market when these funds are deployed. And I think what's also interesting to me is that based on the comments that have been put out, these fund managers will not just be looking at the large cap companies, companies that we are familiar with, like the DBS, Singapore REITs, but also trying to uncover gems within the entire Singapore market. The other key aspect of the measures that were announced is also the enhancement of the local research ecosystem through expanded grants. So what we can potentially see here would be more research that will help various investors like yourself to understand more about these different companies, especially if they are in sectors that may not be as well covered. Okay, so I think that is a country-specific driver which has actually helped improve sentiment towards the Singapore market. I think outside of that, we have seen improving sentiment in global equity markets as well. And part of the reason would be increasing expectations around interest rate cuts. So at this point in time, we have seen an easing of the concerns around the global trade tariffs. But on top of that, there are increasing expectations of interest rate cuts by the US Federal Reserve. And that is something that is helping to drive improved sentiment towards the market. So, what is giving this increased confidence towards the interest rate cuts? First and foremost, we have seen some weakening in the US employment data. So, based on the data that's come out over the past 3 months, we see that the increase in job growth has actually moderated compared to the previous months. So one school of thought is that with the weakening in the jobs data, probably the US Federal Reserve will then be more inclined to cut interest rates as a way to stimulate the economy. Apart from the moderation in the job growth, I think the other factor that is driving increased expectations of interest rate cuts would also be that inflation has been generally tame over the past few months. Just saw the inflation data coming out a few days ago, and generally we have not seen a very significant uptick, despite all the concerns that the US trade tariffs would actually drive up inflation significantly. So, with inflation actually at a pace that might be tolerated by the US Federal Reserve, and with the weakening in the jobs data, I think that is driving increasing expectations that we will see interest rates coming down over the next few months. So this is what we see for the latest expectations of the US interest rate. And I think in the past few weeks, the probability of a interest rate cut in the upcoming meeting in September has actually increased. So based on my latest checks, it is actually close to 90% probability that the US Federal Reserve will cut interest rates in September. But not only that, in the upcoming meetings in October and December, there are also hopes that the US Federal Reserve will continue on its rate cut trajectory. Okay, so what is the implication of that? We have seen US government bond yields coming down very sharply. This is the US 10-year government bond yield. It has come down after the jobs data was released and also with the inflation data that was just released a few days ago. Okay, closer to home, many of you would probably be familiar with the Singapore T-bill. We just saw the latest auction being announced this afternoon, and we saw a further decline in the 6-month T-bill yield to now below 1.7%. So that is actually a significant drop compared to where it was just at the start of this year. So that is part of the driver for the strength in the global markets. In particular, global tech stocks have actually rallied very significantly. Part of it is driven by the expectations of interest rate cuts, but we also have got generally strong fundamentals within selected tech subsectors. So one of the subsectors that has done very well would be the AI related segment. With the increased usage of AI related tools, we have seen many of the stocks within that segment having very strong share price performance over the past few months. I think what I've also seen is that when I was doing my research across the different subsegments, there are also more niche subsectors that are also expected to grow very strongly. One of which is the interactive video streaming segment. So this is actually the estimated market size of the interactive video streaming segment in Southeast Asia, expected to grow at about 19% per year between 2023 and 2027. So if I were to look at the broader Asian market, likewise, if I were to look at the interactive video streaming segment in Taiwan and in Japan, what I also see here is that the current expectation is for this sub-segment within the broader tech ecosystem to be growing over the next few years as well. So with this market overview, I think it is probably the right time to then bring on board the management team of 17Live. We are very pleased to have with us today Mr. Jack Jiang, who is the Executive Director and CEO of 17Live. And what I wanted to do is to invite him to share some of the company introduction as well as the key results highlights before we go into the Q&A section later. So over to you, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you, Jared. And thanks to all the participants, for those that, especially those who maybe have to rush the dinner to come to this, webinar, and those maybe have a delayed dinner, or you're probably eating dinner at the same time. It shows your interest and really appreciate of that. And today, actually, I'm going to share some of the good news and some of the things probably you have already looked at it in our press release. It was announced 2 days ago in the evening. But I'll give you a bit more picture, some of the things beyond just a number that you see, and especially the rationales of why we are doing certain things. And yes, so let's, without further ado, maybe just give you a quick overview about the key highlights that we are having for today. All right. So all 6 points here, let me just go through one by one. First of all, this is actually the first quarter since our listing that we have turned around the top line in the revenue quarter by quarter. All right. So we managed to grow 2% from 40.1 million in first Q, to 41.0 million in the second Q. So this shows that we are not just a company that has been staying operationally profitable, but we are starting to turn our top line and enter into the growth phase again. Second point, which is something that we have started since early last year, is how to become a more cost efficient and operational efficient. So we managed to further improve our margin year on year, both in terms of gross profit and in terms of operating margin, which shows our discipline and shows our efficiency in our operation. So operating profit actually rise from $1.3 million in first half of last year to 2.4 million in first half of this year, roughly about more than 80% or 70% of growth since last year. And third point, which is very important because actually cash shows the real money generating capability of a company, right? So despite all the cash buyback that later will share more, we managed to grow our cash balance of 79.2 million as of 31st December last year to 82.2 as of 30th of June this year. So this jump of cash, of so-called the cash position, is despite we spent more than nearly about $2 million in the cash buyback, in the stock buyback that we have since the beginning of this year. So operating cash flow, we have actually increased more than $4 million. So this all come from our operation. And the fourth point, I think for most of you, I think we have been hearing many feedbacks from our shareholders why, as a profit company, that you are not declaring dividend. So finally, this first half, we have decided and we are ready to declare the first inaugural interim dividend for the first half of 1.5 Singapore cents. So this comes purely from our first half profitabilities. So later I will elaborate furthermore on some of the rationale behind that. And the fifth is that we continue our share buyback program that started since the EGM approval last year, November. So this year we have bought back close to 2.8 million shares. And this is roughly about 15.6% of the authorized shares that we can buy back based on our EGM and AGM mandate. So it means that we still quite a long way to go, that we can still buy more when we think the share price is right. And last but not least, because we see the point towards the future, not just our core business. So we have been putting emphasis on grow our new business. And this time, particularly in 2025, we have just launched our live commerce total solution in Japan. So what this means is that we are not just doing live commerce on 17Live. We're now making use of our livers, our streamers, so-called resources, and the industry network of brands partners that we have to actually to help the brands, help the enterprises to do live commerce on any platform. Right? It doesn't have to be 17Live. It can be, even it can be YouTube, can TikTok, and Instagram, Facebook, can be other platforms, essentially making use of our live resources, the ones that we have in Taiwan and Japan, and the know-how and the capability of doing live commerce selling. All right, so this is something which we just announced in early this month, actually, but we started this service since the beginning of July. We're hoping this can drive new growth going forward, especially for the live commerce business. So yeah, let me go further. All right. So I think for those who are familiar with us, probably have seen us, revenue has been coming down. In fact, ever since December 2023, when we listed, we have been having continuous quarter-to-quarter drops revenue. I mean, largely because of the market competitiveness in Japan and some of the post-COVID factor that we had seen. So, but we managed to turn around. And the key in how we did that is actually the key growth strategy that we put in place since last year, August, when we announced the forward strategy. I will elaborate further just in a second time. So so after we have done the top line turnaround, it also helped us in terms of driving our bottom line. And the reason for that is because we maintained, in fact, we improved our gross profit margin from last year. And that we, by doing a higher revenue, it allows us to turn more into the bottom line as well. So with that, we have managed to actually nearly double our operating income from last year. And this trend, if we continue to grow our top line, it will continue to translate to the bottom line. And because our gross margin has been more stable at the current level, if you see in our last year's result, at the same time, our operating expenses, which compared to second half of last year, has stayed pretty much stable. So with all these stable margins, stable operating expense, if you can drive our top line, it will drive our bottom line, all right, our profitability. Next slide, please. So this shows the effort that we put in diversifying of top line, because early on, I think I mentioned some of the new business that we have, V-Livers, live commerce, and Wave. So all our new businesses that we have managed to grow the percentages of our total revenue from 8.6% in the first half of last year to 11.6%. So this shows that actually we are not just growing our core business, we are also growing the new business. And the new business is going to drive the second growth curve going forward. So especially with the launch of live commerce in July this year, live commerce total solution, we hope that this can be a strong driver going forward. And next time when we report the next half result, maybe in the end of this year or beginning of next year, we hope to deliver more good news in terms of diversification for our revenue. All right, so a little bit more about the dividend and some of the shareholder value things that we are doing. So first of all, about dividend. So as you know that typically a tech stock usually don't declare meaningful dividend, or sometimes they don't declare dividend at all. So this time when we decided to do this, it's really come from the consideration of many fronts. Now, first of all, if we declare a dividend, especially for an interim dividend for the first half, we don't want to do this as a one-time thing only. All right. So we really think that we can do this now, means that we are confident that we are able to do it in a sustainable manner going forward. All right. So, and we believe that this dividend indicates our strong cash generating capabilities, which you can see from our cash balance compared to December last year, and also the ability that we can make continued score profit from our operation. So 1.5 cents for first half of this year, if you want to translate to a yield, annualized is roughly about around 3%. So actually just a couple of hours ago, Philip Security just announced, published the analyst coverage on 17Live. So you can read more into that. So this, we hope that we're not just a tech growth stock. Like one of the investors I talked to recently was telling us you are not just a tech growth stock, you are now profitable from the operating cash flow perspective. And at the same time, you do dividend and you do stock buyback. So with all this, I think we are standing at a very unique position on the SGX. And something that we have been doing early on about the share buyback. So actually, we are authorized to buy back up to 10% of our issue share capital. So that's roughly about 18.9 million shares. So currently, our total share capital is about 189 million shares. So we are allowed to buy up to 10%, but so far, as of her first half this year, we have bought back about 2.8 million shares. So it means there's more room that we can grow. That means more room that we can continue to do our share buyback. All right. So let me just go back to some of the fundamentals of why this growth happened. So for those who are familiar with us, have been following us from last year, please bear with me a little bit. So I'm going to explain to this a little bit so that people understand, especially those who are new in watching 17 Live. So as a live streaming platform, we focus on three key growth pillars. So first of all, we strengthening our core live streaming business. So this is the live streaming, the real live streaming business that's been generating close to about 90% of overall revenue. And most of it is in the form of gifting. So this is a core business we continue have to build on and have to grow, because this is where it drives the key profitability for the whole group. All right. So as I mentioned just now, as long as we can drive the top line growth, because our gross margin is quite stable and our operating expense is quite stable as well. So this will translate into predictable net profit, or rather the profit level, operating profit of the company on a foregoing basis. So which is why we will continue to strengthen our core business to drive the profitability. But in the meantime, we're not forgetting about future growth. There's a reason why just now I talk about we have the new revenues, new diversified revenue sources that now more than 10%. So diversifying revenue is the second key pillar of our business through the new businesses like VLivers, like live commerce. And last but not least, we'll continue to strengthen external partnership, doing capital market strategies to enhance shareholder values, to looking at some of the inorganic M&A growth as well, because we're sitting on $82 million of cash right now. So we're constantly looking at new inorganic opportunities to further to extend our growth potential. So these are the three key forward strategies that we've been focusing on since last year. So a little bit more about our core business. So this, again, for those who are familiar with us, please bear with me a little bit. I spent about maybe 1-2 minutes to go through a little bit. Why we focus on live growth and making the platform fun as a core live streaming business. Because the two user group that we have to deal with, or we have to support, are the livers, which provides the content, and users that consumes the content and does the gifting. All right. So live growth is important because without the good livers coming to our platform, we can never generate good contents. And why liver want to come to our platform is because they believe coming to 17 Live, they can become better. So the live growth is a centric value that we hold to ensure that we are better at onboarding and nurturing. We are better at engagement and support. We allow the liver have more exposure and more growth opportunities, because they are also human beings. They want to become better, right? They want to earn more. They want to become more famous and all that. So we give them the exposure and opportunities. And we always, it's an open platform. So this was a strategy that we executed since Q4 of last year. We are no longer exclusive, means people can come in and to 17 Live anytime, even if you are live streaming on other platforms. We're welcome to come here to participate in a lot of the exposure-driven event opportunities, which allow them to gain not just economically, but also in terms of reputations, fames, and association with big brands. So this is something very unique to us. It's a unique strength of 17 Live especially in Japan and the Taiwan market, and we'll continue to do that. Then not just the live side, we also need to take care of the user side, because they must find it fun. So content must be fun. And the events just now I mentioned, basically is the different ways to play competitions, to different ways to play how to support your, the livers that you like on our platform. So we make more fun mechanism, gifting systems and all that to allow them to actually feel enjoyable, feel being recognized when they are playing on 17Live. So right, this is a key to attract the user side. So Live Growth Platform Fund. So these are the two key things we have been focusing since last year, now nearly about 1 year. And we have seen the result to start to pay off. And we'll continue to focus on this going forward to drive the value and profitability of our core business. Product side, we continue to innovate. And for the last 1 year, we have been doing mostly on the vCreate. It's a vLiver, so-called effortless avatar creation system that we have done in our app, as well as AI features. So a little bit more details. Why doing vCreate? Because nowadays, especially the younger generations, they don't really all like to show their face when they're doing the live streaming. They learn to stay behind an avatar. But avatar, how do you make avatar more fun, more expressive, more realistic? So this is the challenge, for somebody holding a phone, be able to do it on the phone itself, because without very expensive equipment, right? Tracking equipment. So we have created new tools such as V expression. We're using AI actually in our app to help you to generate expressions on the avatar that you've created. Something to allow you to stand out more, become more emotional, means laughing more wildly or being a lot more angry. So these are the new tech-enabled expression that come out from our vCreate text functionality in the app. Then also the V Fusion, because nowadays people, although they stay behind the avatar, they want to show people that they are actually walking outside, they're eating, they're visiting famous places. This is what we call the 2.5V, essentially a blend between reality and virtual. So now we can allow people to actually turn on the V Fusion mode. So people still see you as a V avatar, but you can be streaming from your real life. The background could be a real thing. All right, so this is the vCreate product feature that we have having. AI features. So we're not actually introducing any AI live streamers or livers. We're actually using AI as an assistant to let the livers to have better streaming, better quality streaming. So this including some of the AI co-hosts that we have in the streaming room. So they can actually help to entertain some of the users while liver could be busy talking or busy singing or busy playing music instrument. So there could be an AI co-host to help you to take care of some of the VIP's questions or some of the users' questions and reply them. So this is one AI feature as a co-host, not a host, but a co-host. And also AI now can help the livers to do live engagement, like playing some games, drawing games with their audience. So AI is as an assistant, and we are further enhancing these AI features to allow our streamers to stream better. So these are the product innovations that we're constantly investing in. So as you know, I think this one is just pretty much to summarize some of the core diversification, new business revenue that we're having. Core live streaming, that's a core. Other than that, we have the three new businesses, vLive live streaming, live commerce, and Wave as an audio live streaming. Next page, I'm going to talk a bit more about the live commerce. So just now I mentioned that we have launched of live commerce total solution in Japan, which sooner or later will extend to Taiwan as well. So essentially, we are using our live resources. We're using the know-how that we have for live streaming to help brands to do live commerce, not only on 17Live. Any platforms that can have traffic, that can have conversion, that can drive up so-called the merchandise, gross merchandise value, the sales value. So this is what currently in the market, especially for Japan, because recently the largest social network video platform, TikTok, has announced that it launched TikTok Shop in Japan. So this is one of those SNS platforms that now we are supporting our B2B clients under the live commerce business, under the live commerce total solution business, to support them to sell their merchandise on these large social network platforms. So we are platform agnostic because our key strength is our livers as well as our live streaming operational capabilities. So we are packing this as a total solution to support the brands. And on the VLiver side, we continue to introduce some of the top famous IPs, for example, in the gaming industry, in e-gaming industry, in Japan, Nana Hoshinana-san. So she has joined us as a new VLivers on our platform, and she has been doing brilliant since about 2 months ago, since debuted on our platform. And we also continue to debut new VLivers on the two on the right, very cute-san, as well as Michiru-san. So these are the ones, we continue to invest into the VLiver IPs in the very disciplined manner when it comes to the cost, but we're hoping that some of the IPs eventually will become big. All right, so we are continuing very patient, investing from the operational cash flow to further cultivate these new VIPs. All right. So having said all the things we have done, we are very much optimistic and confident about the outlook going forward. So we're continuing to do what we think is the right thing. We've been doing the last 6 to 9 months. It has been paying off in terms of seeing the return or the growth. So things like we'll continue to listen to our customers. We call the VOC. This including our livers as well as the users. And we're also going to deepen the creator engagement through partnership. So just now I mentioned about the events being something very unique for 1-7-Live. Yes, because especially in Japan, we are one of the top platforms that able to partnership with top brands. It can be a top baseball teams. It can be a top consumer brands. To partnership with them to allow our liver to have exposure. Exposure by having brand, sorry. The slide just went off. Sorry, hold on. Some technicalities. So maybe I'll just back up with my own slides. Please bear with me a little bit. Can you all see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Let me try.
Maybe make it full screen.
Yes, let me try to do that. You seeing the outlook page?
Unfortunately, it's still part.
It's still not that. But it's a full screen sharing.
Yes. I
Sorry.
think that is fine. We can use this set of slides.
Yeah, but you can see the outlook page, right?
We are now at the cover page on your first half 2025 results presentation.
Are you seeing the? Okay, sorry, sorry about it. I think just now maybe some network issues. My colleague dropped off. So sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry. Let me see what I can bring back. That's the thing. Hey, where did I go to? Okay. Sorry. Hmm. Are you able to see it now?
Yes, we are at the slide that says looking ahead.
Okay. Okay, so that's the outlook section. So let me
Yes.
continue. So just now I talk about, deepen the creator engagement, the second box in the middle. So essentially what we are doing is to actually to continue the partnership that we have with large brands in Japan, because this allow us to have more so-called brand partnership with large famous brands so that our live have the exposure opportunity. So this is something very unique to 1-7-Live, because other live streaming platforms, the top livers never get themselves associated with brands. So it means they never get a recognition from so-called the broader consumers or the broader society. So having that linkage is key to the liver growth. So we have done that well, and we're going to continue to deepen the partnership engagement to allow more brands to come in to have partnership with us, to allow more liver to have exposure. So this is something we're going to continue to do. And of course, product innovation, I talk about both in terms of our AI features as an assistant, as well as some of the other things like V-Livers as well. And last but not least, on the business front, we're going to diversify our revenue stream. So just now, I spent quite a bit of time talking about live commerce. So that's something which we think is going to drive growth because currently live commerce has just started in Japan. All right, so we're going to ride on that wave, and we're going to offer this total solution to further drive our top line. So with all this, we are still committed to continue to grow the revenue and profitable growth, and hope for that to translate to more shareholder value creations through our dividend, through our share buyback. So all this as a whole package is what we believe is the path that we have in front of us. So with that, I'm going to pretty much stop here for more questions from the audience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jack, for the update on your most recent performance that's hot off the press, as well as giving us an overview around your key business, as well as some of the initiatives going forward. So for the participants who have joined us today, if you'd like to ask a question, do put it into the Q&A box, and I'll be posing some of these questions to Jack in our Q&A session. Okay, so I do see some questions actually coming in, but maybe before we go into some of the live questions, I will, out of curiosity, actually want to find out from you, how do you describe to someone who might be new to the business of 17Live, actually some of the different features and products that you mentioned? I think we talked about live streaming, we talked about V-Liver, we talked about live commerce. I think those might be terms that we have come across from time to time, but from someone who might not have heard of 17Live in the past or might be new to the business, how do we really see some of these different products and features coming together?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So I think for some of you, it may be the first time hearing this business model. So let me just quickly summarize it. So in short, 17Live is a pure play live streaming platform. When we see pure play means that all our revenue is coming from live streaming, coming inside the live streaming room itself. So it means we don't have advertising revenues. We don't have other kind of revenue coming from selling something, selling a physical goods, for example. So everything come within the live streaming room. All right. So, and currently about 90% of our revenue, actually more than 90%, because it plus the V-Livers is the same kind of business model. More than 90% or 95% and more actually come from gifting. Gifting means as a user, when you watch a content, you like the content, you want to support the livers, you actually provide virtual gifting through a virtual currency that we have currently in our app. We call the baby coin. All right. So you actually buy the coin, just like buying any kind of gaming currencies, and you use the currency to donate to the V-Livers or the real livers. And the livers, when they receive the coins, they will then, on a monthly basis, they will, look to 17Live, will convert the coins into actual income in the local currency, and they receive, and we call this a revenue share. So this is essentially the core business model. All right. So we are quite different from some of the other platforms, for example, say TikTok, because as you know, TikTok mostly is a short video platform. When you go and watch TikTok, you're mostly watching the short videos, and the biggest revenue source for TikTok is from advertising. And YouTube, you are going up to watch mostly long videos. All right. Of course, they have live streaming, but they are not pure play live streaming. They're mostly still for watching long videos. So we are not a video platform. We are essentially a live streaming and purely a live streaming platform. Yeah. And one more thing that people may notice, like people sometimes ask us, like how many users, how many active users and all that. So this is very unique in Japan. So sometimes we call ourselves, we are the izakaya of, live streaming. For those who have been to Japan, I think you probably enjoy the Japanese izakaya culture. You go into an izakaya, maybe one chef in front of it only got 8 seats, 10 seats, and that's it. It is not a traffic game. It's the interaction game. So we continue to play that interaction game. Means that any streaming rooms, you will not have like one livers facing 1,000, 2,000 audience, which they don't know who and who. It's like giving a lecture, not able to see even everybody's face. Like doing a concert, like I mean, to a person standing on the stage, everyone is just a live spot. So you don't even know who they are. So this is not the kind of interaction that we want to have for live streaming. We wanted more to and fro, more warmth. So izakaya is like 1 to 10, 1 to 30, 1 to 50, maybe the most, because once you're more than that, you don't have that. So our ratio between our livers and the audience is always kept in a kind of very sweet spot to allow the user to have the most engagement and interaction. And because of that, they feel very much emotionally connected. They're more likely to actually to give them. And when they give them, they are supporting them. So, I mean, for Singapore, sometimes, especially coming from a Chinese society, mostly, whether Singapore or some other place, you find that why do we have to, donate to somebody we don't know, right? It is something which quite strange. But in the Japan culture, which somehow Taiwan in a way is kind of influenced as well, because they're very close to Japan in terms of some of the culture, they actually see supporting as a form of a live activity. Somebody see that it's like they earn money because they want to support somebody to become successful. For those who play games, it's like a bit of the role-playing games. So you are actually trying to role play, try to actually to support somebody to make this person become better and better. So that kind of gifting culture is very prominent in Japan. So which is why this kind of izakaya small room interactive model actually works in Japan, and Japan is our core market. Yeah. So of course, a little bit difficult, a little bit abstract for those who first hear this from me. Many people disbelieve it, but of course, as you more and more watch, hey, actually, you guys, can do this thing. So it's something which quite unique. But we have proven ourselves that, from the profitability perspective, now from the growth perspective as well, that this business is sustainable and it can grow and it's profitable. Yeah. So of course, new business like live commerce, easier for a Singapore audience to understand. Essentially, the live streamers now selling something, but we don't carry the inventory. We don't do the logistics. We supply the livers. We supply the know-hows about how to do live streaming, and we support brands to sell on any platform with all the logistic fulfillment supported by third parties. So we earn our share of selling. So we earn the GMV revenue share for selling. So this is the new total solution business that we are recently launched. That one probably is much easier for people to understand, because when people watch live stream, they thought it's selling things. Yeah.
Thanks so much for the very detailed explanation. But for those who still have no idea what this business is about, my best suggestion is just go to the App Store, download the app, and actually check out for yourself what we previously have discussed. I think for myself, only after I went for the demo session a few months ago when we were shared how this actually works, did I have a better understanding about how this live streaming, VLiver actually works.
Yeah. Turn on your region to be Taiwan, so that you will see more contents, because currently we don't really have a Singapore livers at the moment. Our livers come from three regions: Japan, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. So turn on the Taiwan region will allow you to see a lot more activities. Of course, for those who can understand Japanese, Japan offers the best in terms of the variety of the live streaming. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the expert tip just for people who have joined us for tonight's webinar. I think with that, maybe if I can just understand the business model a bit better, given what you described, how would we think would be the key competitive edge of 17Live? What really differentiates you from other competitors?
Very good question. So as I mentioned, the key is on people to people emotional connection. So as our company's mission says, we empower human connection. So the human to human connection is the key. All right. So without the interactivity, we are no different from any other platform. Means it's all about one person just showcasing his talents to many people. That is not our business model. We are a small, as I mentioned, the izakaya kind of style. The chef must be appreciated by the people who sit in front of them. The closeness actually brings the emotional connection, brings the revisiting, brings the repeat gifting behavior. So the key of that is interactions. So this is why our live streaming room has been kept relatively small, in terms of audience size. Then, of course, that is the form, as you can see it, the form of the live streaming that we have. Behind that, the psychology of a liver, because liver are not doing this just for fun. They're doing this either as a part-time job or as a full-time job. All right. So to them, this is a living. So, for example, I think probably people not maybe don't know these statistics. In Japan, there's more than 1 million people who live by themselves and never go out of their house. Means they live 100% based on online delivery, everything. They don't even step out their house. It's a very unique social phenomenon. And there are also many, many, many single mothers in Japan. To them, they only do part-time jobs to have a living because they need to take care of the children. So to them, live streaming is a very important piece of the part-time jobs for them to continue to earn the income so that they can, raise their next generation. So all these are the so-called the social phenomena or social problems that live streaming is solving. So which is why we focus on liver growth. We focus on making liver feel better. We focus on giving liver the recognition and identity, which is very different from other platforms because the other platform never talk about liver being a community that worth their respect. They are not just any other entertainers. They actually are any other people that require or deserves their recognition, respect, and they also deserve to become better. So which why liver growth is a key strategy we announced last year, and this was the one that gave us, these credibilities, and we receive a lot of trust from our livers because we're the only platform that shouts this in Japan. So this, we believe, is one of the key reasons that drive livers to come back to us. And when livers is back to us, we have good contents. When you have a good contents, you have users. Then all the events, play styles on our app pays off because the user also feel fun. So everything starts with having livers, right, on our platform.
So with that, I think we have a better idea of your entire business model. I think sitting in Singapore, many of us are familiar with your live commerce, but maybe in terms of live streaming, that may not be something that we are very familiar with. So I think that then brings to the next point around your livers. I think given that is a very critical part of your entire business, really, what does it take to be a live streamer? I think earlier you shared, like, can I effectively just be a live streamer? Is it as simple as like selling durians or jewelry online? Because I guess the pipeline of your live streamers is actually very important for the success of your business.
Yeah, actually, anybody can become a livers or live streamers. Somebody who willing to talk, are not afraid of talking. I think you, me, myself, and maybe many of us actually can be a live streamers. So, but what makes a good live streamer different from a normal live streamer, I would say? Actually, one of them is actually discipline. So we have seen all the good livers, they constantly live stream a certain number of hours. Some can be as long as 8 hours a day, just purely talking. So for example, we have one liver, a very famous Japanese livers who does the drumming. So every morning, without miss, every single morning, 5:30 a.m., he wakes up because he want to drum it, start at 6 a.m. every day. From 6 until about 8:30, he play his drums, he do his morning weather forecast, news announcement, all that while he's drumming. And sometimes a bit of singing, sometimes he's learning Chinese because he's Japanese, learning Chinese, doing all kind of funny things. At night, he does another 3 to 4 hours to the midnight. So being there constantly is what makes you feel that, that's the spirit. And he actually is one of the top music livers on our platform. He is our professional liver. We call it pro liver on our platform. So that's how you differentiate from a good liver for a normal liver. I think we all can talk, but we probably cannot talk every day at the same time for the same number of hours. So being able to do that is very important. Number two is to be able to feel for your users. You have to always watch out to the so-called the comments because the user don't talk, right? User only comment. So when user comments, you have to respond. You have to respond in the, in the more fun way, all right? And then sincere way. So that's where you gain people's trust. And especially in Japan context, people will come back to you every day because the moment you turn on your live streaming room, they will receive a notification and they will turn on to watch you. Even though sometimes we see people watching that, even they are riding a train, they still put on their earphone, they type to you and all that. They're actually moving, but they keep on watching. So these are the two key things I think to become a good liver. Yeah.
Okay, I think we are slowly getting the hang of it because we are getting more questions, which signify more engagement. So this question from a participant, in that case, can you potentially sign on some of the J-pop idols to do live streaming, just to be able to drive more interest and users onto the platform?
So, very good suggestion, and we have tried that before. In fact, we have tried many celebrity. At one time, we even nearly brought Justin Bieber onto 17 Live. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. But that is going to be a one-time show because this liver or these celebrities, it didn't get famous or didn't grow in your platform. It was borrowed. It's like an ambassador. So for the one night, it can be a VIP. For the next day, it disappears because it doesn't belong here. So we can continue to do that. We got to pay for it, by the way. It's not free to get somebody to come to our platform to do it. So we realized that actually this is not something that's sustainable. I mean, we have tried many of such before. We also tried, having a famous celebrities next to it sits our liver. It didn't work well largely because this is like it's like a TV program show, right? So and it's not something which other platform cannot do. YouTube can do it, other people can do it. But what people cannot do is from a nobody to become somebody. Like 2 years ago, about 1.5 years ago, we have a university grade one student as a music school student in Japan, a violinist. First time she was doing live streaming on our platform, and she has a very simple motivation. So she want to live stream, earn some money, so that she can go overseas for study. All right, after 4 years. So now, after about 1 year, because of her just discipline, every day hardworking, same time play violin every day, and her charisma, she smile, she greet everyone, she talk to everybody with a lot of sincerity. She now become one of the top music livers, and she earned more than probably she could imagine. I think she earned maybe 10 times what she need to actually go overseas for study. So of course she's going to continue to go overseas to study in another 2 years' time. We probably will lose her for a while, but her dream come true. And this is the beauty of live streaming. I mean, it's not from bringing a talent to the platform, right? So grow a talent is much more important than just bringing a talent as a guest to the platform. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have discussed a bit about the business model and maybe things that are more qualitative in nature. Maybe since this is an investor update, there's a question from Desmond around any numbers in terms of the MAU trend that we can share for 17 Life.
And you trend.
MAU, monthly active users.
Okay, I'm sorry that because we actually don't publish our MAU figures in any of our updates. The only time we did that is when we did the de-SPAC IPO, so called. Yeah. So, but one thing I can share with you all, which I share with all the investors, that some of the key metrics that we have been tracking don't change. For example, ARPU means every paying users, how much money they spend every month. That number don't really change. And the conversion from MAU, so-called active user, to paying user don't really change. So, which is a very simple maths. You look at what is our revenue back then when we were doing the de-SPAC, and the MAU that we have here is pretty much proportional. So when the revenue come down, the MAU come down. Then the revenue go up, the MAU go up. So I think I'm not going to do the maths for you, but pretty much this number is, you can derive easily yourself. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, the answer is that we probably have to do some further analysis, but the company has shared some basic framework around how we can think about the MAU numbers.
Yeah. So I mean, our MAU when we are at the de-SPAC time, our MAU announced is about 550,000 MAUs. So that was the base that we had then. Of course, it was higher revenue.
Mm.
So which is why we are not, as I mentioned before, we are not a platform that is of a high so-called MAUs, but we are very high ARPU. And the business model is different. We're not, it's not a mass business, but we're relatively smaller traffic business, but high quality traffic business. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes
So
people say that, think about us like maybe selling Rolex versus selling Casio. Yeah.
Okay, so for the participants who are not familiar with the ARPU concept, that's the average revenue per user. So once again, that can be one of the terms that we can try to understand and think about the kind of monetization that 17Live is able to generate. Okay, I think earlier you spoke about some of the key markets like Japan and Taiwan that makes these markets unique. So this question around how about then replicating that within Southeast Asian countries? Is there any opportunity to be doing so within Southeast Asia?
Yeah. So very good question. So that's talking about how we can have the regional expansion, right? So normally, of course, the easiest thing is to do that. Let's replicate what we successful in Japan and port it over to Singapore. And it don't work because the demographic is different, the culture is different, the behavior is different. So what we think it could work is cross-border. Cross-border means that we have something which is of a value that we can brought it out from Japan, from Taiwan to South Asia. It can be two things. One, if you have some kind of IP, just like, for example, Hello Kitty. Everywhere in Asia, people like Hello Kitty, and Hello Kitty is the IP from Japan. So if we can successfully create a VTuber IP of high followers, we can export that. So that's one way of cross-border exporting to Singapore. The other one, more direct, of course, selling merchandise. I think we all like to buy things from Japan, from Taiwan. Some of the goods are pretty well. So if we have the live commerce total solution business start growing, and we can potentially do cross-border and sell from Japan and Taiwan into South Asia, including Singapore. So these are the things which is you can imagine could happen. So rather than doing replicating the business model here, but we're going to export things into South Asia. We're hoping that we can reach that soon so that people can feel more relevant or closer to our platform. Yeah.
Okay, the next question is on the competitive landscape. I
Hmm.
think earlier you already mentioned how your business might be different from some of the other platforms that we might be more familiar with. But maybe we can go into a bit more detail to think about, is there any possibility that some of these other platforms can then also enter the live streaming business, and whether that can then potentially pose a threat?
Okay, so first of all, I think new players coming to live streaming now, for especially for gifting-based live streaming, is very difficult because the market isn't really growing super fast. So when you see the interactive live streaming market growth, most of the growth actually come from live commerce. So the gifting base actually didn't grow that much. It's a low single-digit growth in Japan and Taiwan. Taiwan even slower, right? So the market is quite mature, and the big players is already there. So I mean, Japan, the biggest in terms of live streaming revenue-wise, gifting revenue actually is TikTok. That's the biggest. And the overall Japan market, based on some of the local estimates, roughly is about 1.5 to $2 billion US dollar. So we are actually about roughly about 10% of the market size. All right. So we used to be the bigger ones because that's before TikTok started doing live streaming in Japan and all that. We used to put the biggest one, followed by Pococha, another local one. So now we and Pococha is slightly bigger than us, and we are slightly smaller. But now because we started to grow, I think we'll start to eat back into the market share that we lost to some of the other players. So this is very important. And why we can do that? Because we focus on long-term strategies, long-term growth strategy, like live growth and all that. So this is the kind of competitive landscape that we have. Same thing for Taiwan. We lost a bit of market share to other people, and now we are gaining back because we focus on long-term strategy. So hard work that we spent in the last 1 year executing our strategy, and we started to see return. And we're going to continue this momentum because this is a very, very, very stable market. We just have to do the right thing, and things will come, growth will come back to us for the core business, live streaming. Of course, live commerce is a fast-growing one. So this is something we're going to grab onto it. It's the next thing we're going to grab onto it. So that's why we launched the total solution. Yeah.
Okay, since we are on this topic of competition or threat, I think the other potential risk to the business is from AI, which can be an opportunity, but also a threat at the same time, given that anyone can then use AI to be creating content. How do you see how AI will potentially impact your business?
So very good question. I think last year when we first saw AI streamers coming out, some of us internally were thinking that, hey, is this something going to threaten us? Shall we do that? The decision is not to go into AI streaming. And the reason being that we are all humans. Do you think we'll feel fun just to watch an AI streaming? Do you feel we can emotionally connecting to just AI? I mean, there are some kind of AI people who will be get emotionally connected. I know what I mean. But most of the time, we like to see humans. We like the other party to be humans as well. So we want us to be still a human entertainment platform when everybody is doing AI, because this is a value that we preserve. We think it's very precious. So AI in 17Live only can be a co-host, can be an assistant, but not to replace the main body. And the funny thing is that there are some AI so-called live streamers who try to do it on 17Live, and nobody give to them. Nobody gifting to them. Very funny. They 24/7. But doesn't no gifting. Very, very funny. Yeah. So it's a phenomenon that we'll see. People still like to watch human. They like the interactions.
Okay, that provides some comfort to us in that, like in some of our live streams as human beings, that is still something that our audience may actually appreciate.
Yes. Yeah.
So since livers are such a critical part of your business, this question around how do you then intend to retain the livers, any expansion strategies for being able to grow your pool of livers?
Very good question. So last year, in versus trying to bind or commit our livers only to 17Live, we used to do that because we used to sign exclusive contract with all our livers. Now, 100% of the livers can go on to non-exclusive, means they don't have to be exclusive with us, and they retain the same revenue share as exclusive livers. So this was the strategy that we started implementing since end of last year and become live from 1st of March onwards from this year. So when we do that, when the door is open, people thought that more livers are going to go to other platforms. But what happened? No, very few actually went. More come back, that who have left come back. Because what makes us different is not because we sign some kind of contract and commit them to 17Live. It's because we offer them an opportunity where elsewhere they can't get it. And just now I mentioned about the partnership. We partnered with a big brand. For example, I think you all know that in Japan, baseball is is a national sport, right? So we partnership already with 4 top baseball teams, including Hanshin Tiger, including Fukuoka, SoftBank Hawks, and including Oryx, and including one more baseball team in Tokyo called Yakult. So these baseball teams, they have this thing called the pitching ceremony. Means somebody, it could be a celebrity, it could be a KOL, can go there and do the pitch, and the one who actually hit it is a top baseball player for the team. So this actually is a very interesting sponsor activities. So we sponsor these things. And how we get sponsored, not they don't accept sponsor money from anybody, because we have this long-term partnership with them. And our liver gets to appear in the stadium and do the pitching. And this is very, very unique to 17Live because other people don't do that. Yeah. So again, we strengthen our partnership, give liver unique opportunity to actually to appear in some places which the money cannot buy. So this is the attractiveness of 17Live, and they continue to attract livers to come to us. For example, if you turn on to the Japan channel now, the #1 liver on our platform this month actually is the #2 top liver from TikTok. Why he come to us? Because he want to participate in an event that only has it in 17Live. Yeah.
Okay, we'll take the final question for tonight's webinar. I think we'll go back to what you started with, which is to share some of your key results highlights. And what this participant noticed is that you have a fairly sizable cash pool. You shared the first dividend payout. You mentioned the share buyback. Are there any other plans to be utilizing this pool of cash?
We're looking for targets to acquire. As simple as that. So this is an effort that we have been continuing since last year. But as you know, we are very cautious people, right? Because we want to make sure that we don't make the wrong move. So sometimes we are more stringent. We rather wait and be patient than to execute or pull the trigger wrongly. So we're still searching, nothing material right now, but we're still searching, constant searching. We're hoping to buy someone who are revenue sizable, who are actually profitable, and who have growth potential and synergy with us, and somebody who can contribute to long-term growth value with us. So to find this kind of target, it takes some time. So be patient. We have something good, we'll announce. Then you will see the cash being used for the right purpose. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks so much for giving an introduction about 17 Live and answering the questions. Do you have any final words for our participants tonight?
I borrowed something which I heard from an investor I talked to yesterday. I think I briefly mentioned just now. So I want to repeat this. He said, "You are a tech growth stock that have a positive operational cash flow, declare dividend, and do share buyback. And if all the boxes tick in Singapore SGX market," he said he couldn't find another one that meets all these criteria. So I was like, really? I didn't know. I mean, I probably didn't do my research well enough. But I'm sure that there's a lot of value to be unlocked from 17 Live. And because the management team, myself, and the rest of the team members, some here, some not here, we're focused on driving long-term value, both for the company and for our stakeholders. So for those who have not really paid attention, I hope that you can look at us more. I mean, today maybe it's the first time I'm talking to all of you. I hope that you all will be following our result announcement. More to come as we make progress. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much for the sharing once again. And I think that leaves us with food for thought and maybe more research to do about the industry, about the company, about the financials. But I think we all have a good starting point after tonight's webinar. So thanks so much for the sharing. And for the participants who have joined us tonight, we hope you found the Corporate Connect helpful in some way. If you missed any part of tonight's session, you can actually rewatch the video on SIAS YouTube channel. The Corporate Connect is a regular series by SIA supported by SGX. And next, we have a Corporate Connect featuring Stoneweg Europe Stapled Trust. So, once again, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and I hope you have a very pleasant evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Good night.